real close here.
Yep, and I'll
You
just
ready
edit
or
all that
Suzanne?
first minute out. I will edit that out. Ta-da. We don't have to follow the script. I just put stuff down so I can read, because that's what I do. But I fake it half the time anyway.
Yeah. That's Caldor,
Got my
which is
commercial.
Larry Williams slowed down in Spanish. Larry Williams, top swing band in the world.
Don't you wish you sold shovels today?
Volume good? Volume okay?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Well, good morning, Lehigh Valley. This is Dr. Susan, and as you know, we are on the air, WGPA Sunny 1100 AM this morning. And as you know, every Wednesday we are here talking about health and wellness and what you can do to live a healthier life. And we are really honored to have you be part of our audience today. Our call-in number is 866-8074. That's 610-866-8074. So feel free to call in today, and you're probably going to want to call in today to say hi to our special in-studio guest that we've got here today. I'm going to keep him a surprise a little bit longer. Remember, for everybody who knows me, who've been messaging me on Facebook and texting, if you text or message me your questions or comments, remember I don't check them until the break at 9:30. But here's today's topic. Today's topic for health and wellness is finding health through faith-filled films. Now, if you can say that fast 10 times, you've got that going. But anyway, our special in-studio guest is a friend of mine, who I had the honor of working with most of this summer, is Daniel Roebuck from A Channel of Peace. We are thrilled to have you here. So, hey, welcome.
Thank you so much, Dr. Susan. I'm honored to be here. You're just a fantastic light in you're probably, people get confused because they know the Star of Bethlehem's on the south side, but you are such a light of positivity that it looks like there's another star on the north side headed towards Nazareth.
Well, thank you. But the show's today about you, not me today.
Oh.
So, but hey, so we are the audience who does not know what you're doing. We need to kind of fill them in. And so let's just jump right in and say, okay, what are you working on? What are you doing? And tell us about Daniel Roebuck right now.
Thank you. Daniel Roebuck hates talking about himself in the third person, but I'm sorry. I'm from Bethlehem. The Lehigh Valley is extraordinarily special to me. If anybody reads in the paper, they might have guessed that. If you don't know who I am, I have played a doctor on TV. That's why I'm on this show. I've also played a killer. I played Jay Leno.
Oh yeah, that was me, Gemma.
Like Gary Marshall. I've been in Star Wars. I've had a long blessed career, and I'm bringing it home to the Lehigh Valley so that we could make faithful family entertainment right here in the heart of the heartland. This is maybe not the heart of the heartland. That may be overstated.
For us, it is though.
It's our heart.
It's our, yes, that's right. For
I
us
think
it
the
is.
heartland has to do with farming. I think
We can work on that because I work on a farm every Friday with the horses I work with.
None of this surprises me. You guys should know. I know it's about me, but let me talk about Dr. Susan. Dr. Susan, she's the king of. I know a guy. Like, you know those guys that you have. You're like, oh gosh, I've got. I've got this problem I have to solve. This person has to go away, and someone goes.
I don't know if I can do that.
Yeah, someone goes, I know a guy. But the stuff when we're making our movies here in town, where we need a lot of help and help and blessing from people. If I'm like, oh, we've got to find a hotel. Susan's like, I got a guy who's a lady, but she always has a guy for anything you need. So. You should call in if you have any problems. She's gonna have a guy.
I'll help solve your problems
Yeah.
too. We want to fix you health-wise first,
Yeah.
but
I'd like. Well, I mean, if you're aligned physically, it's easier to comprehend being aligned spiritually,
Right.
because you feel good. You feel good, and that helps your emotional state. I know that's a fact.
Yeah.
I'm not telling you what your job is, Susan.
and that's funny because one of the questions I was going to ask you is, do you find that there's a connection between hope and health?
Hope and health. Yeah, as long as you're living your hope. Look, I've never been a guy. So if you're like someone goes, I need a guy who's always hopeful. I'm not that guy. I'm a guy who's helpful, which makes me happy. I think that if there's a longing, you might feel empty. But Doctor, I don't have a bucket list.
Well, that's good.
I live.
You don't want to get to that finish line. If you have a bucket list,
Yeah.
that means there's a finish line.
Yeah.
You don't want to get there.
I've always, I definitely believe in God. Look, there's no doubt about it. And there's things that I kind of don't do because I know He's watching. Like, I don't take a nap in the afternoon because I don't want Him to look down and go, oh, look how comfortable he looks. I think it's like, that's like, He might think you're rehearsing. And you never ever sleep on your back with your arms crossed in front of you. And then the other thing
So someone can measure you, right?
Yeah. I don't have a bucket list because you're right. I don't want to be done with anything. I want to every day
Keep going.
Yeah. So anyway, that's probably
For
over.
people who don't know what's going on in Lehigh Valley, and people who are just like flipping on right now and go, oh, they're on the air. We are talking to Daniel Roebuck from A Channel of Peace. And if you have not been around the Lehigh Valley the past couple of months, there has been a movie crew in town filming in various locations.
It's true. So
It's true. So can you tell us about what you're working on right now?
well, I'm working on a movie called Lucky Louie. Can I just backtrack a little and give
Sure.
just a little history?
Absolutely.
On March 11th, 2020, we excitedly announced that we were going to be making a movie called The Hail Mary the summer of 2020, and we had great fanfare, and it was a very exciting day. We were at over at Richard Wolf's Theater, the Roxy Theater, by the way. When we can get back to the theater, remember to support these independent theaters like the Roxy and Shankweiler's. These are great people, great lovers of the Valley, and if you're going to go see a movie anywhere, go see a movie where all the money stays in the Valley. I guess that's the way to say it.
Right.
So we announced the Hail Mary on March 11th, and then people may or may not remember on March 12th, Armageddon hit. It was the apocalypse.
Correct.
I looked out the window and I saw the guys, the five horsemen, and I thought, oh, here we go. So we announced that movie, and then we couldn't make it, Susan.
I know.
We couldn't make it because of the restrictions imposed by the government and for everybody's safety. So I also had a movie that I was going to shoot before that in Budapest. That got pushed, and I started thinking about this other story just because I was sitting around. I thought it'd be interesting to start a movie with a bank robbery where you don't know who anybody is, and the bank robbers don't know who the other bank robbers are. So I started noodling that around, and there's certain actors that I like to write for, and I started conceptualizing it, and then I pitched my daughter, who's a film school graduate, and has been on sets literally since she was a week and a half old. She was on the set of Mashed Bridges and already directing. I said, hey, I have this idea. Why don't you write it with me? And then maybe direct it with me. So we wrote it, and then that movie that got pushed from April got pushed. It was pushed to July. In July, they told us it wasn't going to be the following April. So I said, let's go make the movie. So that's how Lucky Louie was born. Lucky Louie is a movie about a retired cop who's obsessed with a bank robbery that happened in 1972. It's a case he could never figure out. And eventually he teams up with a forensic psychology major played by Maddie Dundon from Getting Grace, 4 ex-cons of which I'm one of them, and the entire town to solve the bank robbery from 1972. So it's a very sweet story about redemption and second chances.
And this has been a phenomenal filming because we filmed in Bethlehem and Bangor and Nazareth, and so we really have touched a lot of places in the Lehigh Valley filming
Yes.
this movie and touched a lot of lives in a positive way.
And Susan was one of our hardest working producers. You know, A Channel of Peace is the not-for-profit. People can go to achannelofpeace.org to learn more about A Channel of Peace and what we're doing. But you know, we are just so grateful to have people like Dr. Susan working with us and helping us find all the infrastructure. Because what costs the most to make a movie, the below-the-line costs, the food, the lodging, all of that. It just requires a great deal of commitment on people like the doctors.
And networking and other community support.
Community support.
The nice thing about the Lehigh Valley is, and again, I know you in the beginning, I know a guy. I do know a guy, but the great thing about the people that I know is that they are so committed to helping local businesses, community service, giving back to our community, and making our community a stronger place so that we can stay here and it keeps growing. So it was interesting, but one of the nice things I like to see was, I'm going to talk about Bangor when we were filming in Bangor.
Oh, what a great job.
You know, the shop owners on Bangor on Broadway were phenomenal. They were so supportive. They love the leftover food too, which was great. But it was, I love to see that coming together and supporting and kind of almost protecting us at that point when we were filming too, which was really nice.
I think you're right about that. Truly, people, Bangor is a beautiful little community, one of many like Northampton, cementing these great little towns filled with a lot of amazing people. And so we needed to have a bank in our movie that we could rob in 1972 and then re-rob in 2020. So step number 1, going to a bank and saying, you know, we'd like to do a movie about robbing. You know, people are not hip to that. We heard about this bank that had a branch that had shut down, a Fidelity branch that had shut down, and it was one of those great old banks, you know, built 100 years ago or whatever, and beautiful bank. And Bill Harton, one of our producers, and I went out there one Sunday, and we were peering in the window, like trying to look in and see inside the bank, and you know, I could see. We stepped back, and in the reflection, it's not a joke. There was a cop. We could see him like staring at us, and I said, "Oh boy, we better go talk to this guy, because we're like the 2 stupidest bank robbers in the world because the bank's been closed." So we talked to the guy, the officer, and Hunsinger, I think, and then you know, we started meeting people in the town. We went into Bangor Trust Brewery and
the antique shops.
Yeah. And everybody was so helpful. And we said, we're going to make this movie. See, you bring a movie to a community. Why should a community want a movie there? We tried to not snarl traffic too much, but there's a little traffic snarling because you got to protect the sound. But what you want is to show off how great these communities are. That's I guess the bottom line, Doctor, is you know, we got to make a movie that's in a beautiful place. I know a valley, you know, and I come to this valley to show it off, and to show who the people are. My movies, so far, the 2 movies have been set here in Bethlehem, and the next movie is the end of it set in the Lehigh Valley as well. They're set in the Lehigh Valley. I'm saying Bethlehem, but it's the Lehigh Valley. And you know, I just love shining a positive light on a community, and our stories are always positive stories about people moving forward through the help of a higher power. Not necessarily Christian. Believe me, I'm sussing out a lot of ideas for many faiths, but we just want to introduce people to the idea that God is part of their lives and their wellness and their health. And I'm working in opposition of a great propaganda machine in Hollywood who does not want us to be they don't want us to have a faith in God. They want to ridicule that as old-fashioned. And if I hear this science, science this and science that, I don't get it. It's like there's no science. There's only God, and whatever comes out of God is good.
Right. And your films now your first film.
Let me just rephrase. Okay. I don't want people calling in and going, "There is science. I've been teaching it for 20 years." I know there's science. I'm speaking like.
I think they know. We're good. We're good. But, okay. So let's talk about like faith-based films and healing through media and things like that, because you send a very positive image. So for those of you who are listening or just tuning in, or we're going to catch this on my YouTube channel, Dr. Susan's PH on YouTube. Your first film that Through a Channel of Peace was called Getting Grace.
Yeah, Getting Grace. Well, it was not Through a Channel of Peace, but it was Channel of Peace came up afterwards. Okay. But no, conceptually, it's within the framework of a channel.
So Getting Grace is the first film you filmed with a lot of the same characters that we might, same actors that we'll see in Louie. And that film, in addition to having hope, because if you have not seen that film, you so need to get a copy. And we're actually, believe it or not, we're selling that film locally. You know that. We have copies at Missing Peace in Nazareth on Bushkill Center Road for sale. Dr. Susan's is selling copies. So we get your copy of Getting Grace, get it under the tree for everybody in your family. But the other thing about hope and Getting Grace, the humor in Getting Grace is hysterical. Tell us about how you use humor also, because we know that when we laugh, it decreases anxiety, it decreases depression. I can give you the science behind laughter and how that helps promote healing, 9 Ways from Sunday, and I can even give you the science and the psychology behind that. But tell us about how you use humor in your films too, to kind of get that out to your audience, to kind of encourage people a little bit.
Well, I think we're dealing with concepts that some people may not really be embracing initially. I mean, I've said 1,000 times, I'm not interested in preaching to the choir. We know where they are Sunday. I'm interested in preaching to the people who are driving by the church. I would love to bring the message of faith and hope in God to people who don't believe it. And now one of the ways we're going to do that, it's not going to be to preach at them. It's going to be to entertain them. And if they're laughing and smiling, and eventually they think, oh, what's this character? What did he use to solve this? What was his superpower? Well, it really wasn't that hard, They stop and they say, I need this or that. Getting Grace is a very interesting movie because it's a faith-based movie, so unique. It's a movie about finding faith and not which faith to find. It's about searching and believing in something. It follows the story of Grace, who's dying. She goes into a funeral home to find out what's going to happen after she dies, and she ends up teaching the funeral director how to celebrate his life. And I discovered an amazing actress here in town, Madeline Dundon, who's a joy to me and a joy to work with, and she's a movie star, and we, in this new movie, Grace and I wrote a really great part for her. Again, I keep writing her better parts than I write me, and this proves that two things: I'm either overtly altruistic or just an idiot, because I should be writing.
But very entertaining if you are an idiot, I must say. I must say, the humor.
Well, it's funny, isn't it? How does God give you these gifts, right? I was not given the gift of mathematics, and I was not given the gift of we could have a whole hour of the things that I can't do, but the one thing I can do is recognize quickly a humorous path to communication, and when someone's smiling, we take down the smile, the laughter is step one of removing whatever armor someone has. We talk about disarming people. You disarm them to hear your message if they're smiling and laughing. So that's what I try to do. That's a long answer to a very short question. But that's what I try to do with the movies. I try to make them entertaining.
And not only that, but getting grace. A lot of people, when I talk to, and again, I run the Cancer Foundation, so we talk about cancer all the time, and people go, how can you take someone dying of cancer and make that humorous? And it's not humorous, but there's so much rich laughter in that film too. And it's truly about the message, like the last minute of the film, which I will not give away on the air. Absolutely.
Thank you.
You have got to so watch this movie, and the last minute will truly lift you up for years to come. But it is truly an amazing thing. But it's the message. You have to watch the message, and it truly is phenomenal. And if anybody has ever had anybody who's gone through cancer, going through cancer, or has lost someone, this film truly gives you that hope. Which, and then I think a lot of times hope does lead to positive health outcomes. Because if you don't have hope, that's usually the first thing we tell patients. Like, look, you've got to have hope that things are going to get better.
Yes.
Yeah, you've got to have hope that there's a better path, a better way to get healthy. But we're talking through films today. And again, if you're just tuning in, we are talking to Daniel Roebuck, who is one of Lehigh Valley's own phenomenal filmmakers and humorous filmmakers, who's been making films in Lehigh Valley. We just finished shooting Lucky Louie, but he's done a lot of other films. We're going to have another project coming around the bend soon, which we'll talk about. But I got to throw something at you, because I have a couple kids. Many say I have way too many children, but that's quite all right.
And no one who's met them thinks that. We appreciate all.
Well, people go, wait, you have more? You have more? That's why we, have.
I've noticed you take the neighbor's kids sometimes too.
Well, you got to help
count them at your own.
Whatever. How many kids you got? 13 today. Whatever. But anyway, you've been around the TV and film industry for years. If you do not know who Daniel Roebuck is, he's been in so many things. Fugitive, got to say, you've met Harrison Ford. So, like, in proxy, then I've met Harrison Ford. Then, so there you go. So I am so excited to announce all my high school friends know, me and Harrison Ford. But anyway, so I've met Harrison Ford through proxy. This is really cool. But you've been in NCIS. I was laughing because even before I met you, I watched Matlock the entire time I was pregnant with my first son. So I watched all of Matlock when you were in Matlock. But my son Harrison, don't worry, he was not named after Harrison Ford. He was named after my grandfather. But he, the thing that we were saying is your role in Star Wars. So I know Harrison's is at home listening. So if we don't talk about what you've done in Star Wars, we have to, because I'm going to go home and I'm going to get yelled at.
Yeah, and Harrison, this is how we're going to prove that you're listening, because this was your homework assignment. The word we want is vacuum. Vacuum. When we ask you what the word was, you better say vacuum. I'm in Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Excuse me, it's hard to believe it's already been out a year. This game was so well received, and they keep talking about the possibility of a sequel. That would be terrific. Susan, you'd love to know that the great director of that, Tom, who is the director of our physical, because although in the movie or in the video game, I'm a computer-generated character with 4 arms who's 3.5 feet tall. I had to perform that live every day that we were shooting. And our director, Tom, we would start every day with a series of relaxation exercises and moving our body around and getting in touch with our body every single day. And it's the only director I've ever worked with who really does that. Because obviously you don't have time to do that on a movie or television show, but this is a different process. And boy, that was great. And so, my body was always creatively flowing while we were creating the show.
I think you have to, because didn't you have one of those suits on with all of like the little metal dots all over? They were tracking every movement and all that other fun stuff.
They track you, and it's so funny. It's like a science fiction. You put this spacesuit on, and then you go into a room, and they attach a camera to your head, and then you go into another room, and you're literally, they shrunk me down in the 3rd room where all of my movements would go into the computer, and then it would create an avatar that moved with my movements, but was 3.5 feet tall and had 4 arms. So strange.
You could be so much more productive on set with 4 arms, don't you think?
More productive in anything with 4 arms.
But anyway, okay, so again, we are on WGPA Sunny 1100 AM. Our call-in number is 610-866-8074. You can call in if you want. If it's too early, you're going to have to catch us on the YouTube channel, Dr. Susan's PH, later on. But, we're talking about healing through faith, hope, fun films using humor. So, and you've been around the Hollywood scene, and you're kind of going against the grain because your films truly are entertaining, fun, family-friendly, which is important. They are family-friendly films. Of all the things you've done in your past famous life that people stop you on the streets for, and I remember being on set, people, once they found out who you were, like, oh my gosh, I need your autograph, I need your autograph. Do you have a most memorable moment that you could look back on and go, yeah, I want that in my autobiography?
Well, for better or for worse, I've been writing this book called The Audition is the Job and Other Truths that I've learned in the land of make-believe. And it's trying to help actors be more empowered in their work. And I tell it through the prism of my own career. So I've actually started writing so much of my experiences down, good and bad, because it's important that people, excuse me, know that, I'm as, capable of making mistakes, and I'm just as stupid as the next guy sometimes. But here's the thing, you realize that as an actor, you watch a movie, I could watch that movie and think that's a photo album. I remember where I was when I was, I remember when I made the movies based on how old my kids were at that time. It's funny, I might not remember the year, but if I remember Grace was 7, then I know the year while we were making that. So I do have that kind of memory.
I think as your parent, you get that though.
Yeah.
Because my husband and I were talking about stuff last night about something that happened, and we were trying to remember. Well, how old was Harrison and Catherine when we did that?
Yeah, right.
And that was like, and that's how we figure out the year. Well, Catherine and Mary was okay. So that was 2013. Okay, got that. All right.
Yeah,
and that's funny how you relate it to how old your kids were.
It's so weird. I mean, our kids, I don't think know that we think about them all the time.
They become your timeline.
Yeah. And so I have the kids and I have the movies. I tell you, every experience is perfect because every experience, good or bad, was helping to form me to be a better person. Spending years with Andy Griffith on Matlock, like to go to work every day and have Andy Griffith say to me, Danny, make this funny. That was pretty great. And he truly trusted me to do that, which I thought was great. And so it's not always just movie stars, although, it was one night on The Fugitive, very, very, very late at night, when we were sitting on some of the camera boxes that, carry the lenses and whatnot, and you're not supposed to sit on them, but if Harrison Ford sits on them, so do I. And we're just kind of waiting in, 4 o'clock in the middle of a very long night. And just me and him. And I, we know when we were working on the movie together, just me and him, and I turned to him and I was going to say something, and I didn't, and I didn't say anything, and I finally turned, and he keeps thinking, what? And I said, I don't know what to say to you. And Harrison Ford, because he's a genius, goes, I understand. Because what are you going to be like? Was it cold on Tatooine? What are you really going to ask the guy?
Right. He's been around. I know.
And you know everything, and so you ask about the family or whatever. But
that's cool.
Those memories are all great.
All right. So in all of the things that you've done, again, we're on air, WGPA Sunny 1100 AM. We're about ready to take a break in 1 minute. So I will check my messages and texts if you've called in that way. If you are going to call in today, you better have it half an hour, 610-866-8074. We are going to take a very short break, but we will be back with Daniel Roebuck from A Channel of Peace and talking about his movies, Lucky Louie, and maybe an upcoming project we're going to bring to the Lehigh Valley. So this is Dr. Susan from Dr. Susan's PH, Integrative Health, and we're going to take a short break, and we will be right back. Ta-da-da-da. I usually get the messages and texts in on Facebook, so. Connie.
I know it's hard to do, but don't bump it. Hey,
Oh,
I'll try.
that does pick up, and that's why there's a cushion under that mic. If you
Okay.
want, you can. It's less absorbent if you use the extension. If you'd prefer this mic, you can use it.
Okay, I'll try it out. I move too much. That's my fault.
Well, I
Okay.
know you get excited.
we just gotta bring, Susan, we gotta bring you something that is there that reminds you to not put your hands, to not pop your hands
I
down.
know, I'm horrible. I'm Italian. What can I tell you?
We should put it,
Yeah.
we should get her some
That's
of those.
what Dick Biondi said.
I'm Italian. Oh my
We
god.
should get her those spikes that you used to stop the guys, the cops used to put those spikes down there.
Got it.
Brock, who sets all this stuff up? Did you do that previously?
With
All of the stuff that's playing now?
We're silent on the air. Are we good?
what happened there? That should have.
We are silent
Oh,
on the
okay.
air. There we go.
Yeah, that was supposed to be a break, I guess, a little later. No! That should have kept going, and I see why it did not. Okay. Right there. I don't, just playing it went right on
We
through.
got a call coming in.
No, that is because it was silent. Yeah,
That's so interesting.
it went off the air. That called me to tell it, hey,
You're off the
it's
air.
dead air.
That's so brilliant. But so all these commercials, did you set them up yesterday?
No, you have 10 seconds.
Someone wants to know what's the worst part of being on set. Well, we are back. This is Dr. Susan from Dr. Susan's PH Integrative Health, and we are live in the studio at WGPA with Daniel Roebuck. We're going to say that you're really famous in the Hollywood and film industry, and everyone should want
Let's
your
not just
autograph.
say it. Let's really believe it.
We are with a phenomenal film star who's creating his own films here in the Lehigh Valley. And for those of you, we were just talking about Harrison Ford because now I've met him through proxy. Okay, if you're listening in, so somebody just texted me a question.
Yes.
Okay, my friend Connie wants to. We're talking about being healthy on set, offering hope, laughter, humor, and using that to enhance your. Someone wants to know what's the worst part about being on set.
Wow, the worst part. Well, there's a lot of waiting around. Now, when I'm making a movie, there's no waiting around. I'm on my feet 15 hours a day. And you can attest to that, Susan.
Yes.
I'm, up and running and moving. And I'm in the movie, I'm acting in the movie, and I'm directing the movie, and I'm producing the movie, and I wrote the movie. So there's 1,000 different things that have to be attended to. But if I go to the set, many actors aren't good at waiting. I go to the set always. It's easier now, you could just plug in a computer, but I've always taken, first I took VHSs with me and a little VHS player. Now I take DVDs and I travel with them, and I watch movies, while I'm making the movies, and that makes me happy. And I watch movies that I watch a lot. So the worst part's probably the ability to just go over and snack on M&Ms at any given moment, and the waiting. But I'm potentially someone who might have ADHD, although when
We call them intelligent people.
intelligent people.
Yes.
When we were kids, they called us, mentally handicapped people, But now we don't say that anymore. But why can't you concentrate? And it's hard to say because I can't concentrate.
See, I'm going to say that you are concentrating, but what happened is we're thinking of so many different things at the exact same time.
Yeah.
We call that multifaceted, or some people call it multitasking, but no, we can just think of 80 things, and we think of that, and we think of that, and we have a solution for this, and we have a solution for that, and our brain goes a million miles an hour.
Well, but the thing is, what we have to teach our kids, and this is something I've somehow taught myself, because you have the same problem, but your solutions are like mine. We have to teach the kids not that problem, that's a problem to think like that. How do you follow through on everything?
Right.
That's where you have to teach the kids. I used to have a thing, I'm going to talk about it, and maybe no one will ever hear this after we say it, but
It'll be up on YouTube. Yeah, they will.
so they will. So I've always had, since I was a little kid, I have this thing that I flick, a flicker, like a soft thing that was part of a blankie, and then it was whatever I could find on the stuffed animal.
Like
tag.
fringes or something.
Yeah, and I would always, And I think that the way that I've been able to kind of see through all of the white noise is I've always had that thing where it shuts all the other stuff down and I can just concentrate on one thing. When I watch a movie, I have that, you know, and it's something I'll still, you know, pull out or suss out. You know, I look for bookmarks that are exactly soft enough or something. But it's the thing that maybe shut the other stuff down.
Finding that focus.
Yeah, you've got to focus. But I'm very good at follow through. I mean, we actually made Lucky Louie from the time I conceptualized it. I mean, the idea didn't exist before Father's Day. I pitched it to my daughter after Father's Day, and it was already written by the end of July, and we already filmed it by...
Yeah, we had a 4-week film shoot. That was it.
We just made it happen immediately because we recognized that there was the perfect moment in time.
Right.
And that's something that, you know, we should talk about too, is that ability to, I think we're all given great information by God every day.
Inspiration, yes.
And we don't pay attention. And I'm very good at listening. Like I've learned that God, you know, he doesn't say, Daniel, this is God talking to you. No, he talks to me like this. Somebody else says, hey, you don't look good today. Why don't you take a moment and breathe? And I think, oh, that's somebody. And I'll sit down and breathe then. You know what I mean? So we've got to always be listening. And I think that there's this miasma of you know, metadata coming at us all the time, and you've got to have that thing that calms you down and look ahead. Somehow when I was 6, I started talking about when I was on TV, when I'm on TV,
right.
when I'm on TV. So I think God let me know I was going to be on TV. So I just had to make decisions that got me.
Mm-hmm. So, and we're talking about doing everything and finding a finish line and really just things. And one of the things too, I think, so many people involved in the film do so many other things. They just don't do the film. And one of the things that I know people throw at me all the time, well, how do you do everything? Well, I don't do everything, but I always encourage everybody to try everything. You know, if you want to learn the piano, well, then take piano lessons. If you want to learn to paint, well, then try to paint. If you want to, no one has to like put you just in one path and stay in that one path your entire life.
Yeah.
And I think it's very important. Our brains are so diverse and we learn new things and create new pathways all the time. I think we're allowed to do a lot of different things at the same time.
But isn't it amazing that, like we're talking about TJ, you know, his ability, he was so good at math. I'm talking about the doctor's son. And like, that's astounding to me that there's a kid who could find the thing he loves. And that's the thing he can do for the rest of his life.
Right.
I think, you know, for me, I did find the thing I loved, which was entertaining, but it's not a sustainable income. So I've figured out other offshoots of that with which we sent 2 kids to college and both kids to Catholic school for, you know, the entirety, and that costs something here. It costs 2-3 times as much in California. So I've always generated the kind of income that was necessary to do that, and the only reason I could is because I always was making a documentary or writing something,
right.
or, you know, using these talents that all are kind of offshoots of.
And using them in different ways. Too.
Yeah.
Different ways.
You know, but we were talking about how do you, and I'm always happy. I'm always happy 100% of the time. If I have a melancholy day, it's so rare. It's not really tied to weather like many people's are.
Well, a lot of people are like, I know a lot of people are worried about the upcoming white stuff that's supposed to fall from the sky in the next couple of days. So that brings up another question someone threw at me last night. So what are you going to do now that you might be stuck here for a few more days?
Oh, you know, well, hopefully Tammy has her editor and I can keep editing on Lucky Louie, which is what we're doing. I'll be going down to Florida to finish the editing. Making a movie, you know, is a
long process.
So we have a lot of work ahead of us. So we'll edit in Florida. We'll do all the post-production in Los Angeles after that, all the sound work, etc. But we'll get it done just in time before we go on to the next one.
Okay. So, and we're talking about faith-filled films and being healthy and staying healthy. We might one of the things I want to talk to you about is
GPA.
how do you stay healthy?
Yes, go ahead.
On the
You want
set?
on the air?
Oh, we might have a caller coming in too, so hang on. We'll
Yeah.
get this patched through. So how do you...
Probably my father asking what time I'm coming over today.
Is that what you... Is
Wouldn't that be funny?
Hey, what time are you coming for
Well,
dinner?
I'll let you tell him if
So
you
there
like.
you go.
Okay.
So that's one of the cool
Yeah,
things.
hold on one moment.
Okay, so we're going to patch a caller through. So hello, this is Dr.
Not
Susan.
yet.
We are going to take a caller on the air this morning. So we'll wait for the boards to be run here this morning. Hello, this is Dr. Susan. Your name is? Hi, who's calling?
Oh, it is my father.
Harvey, how are you?
What kind of?
You have a job. There you go. You can have some.
I'll be dead. I'll come shovel your snow.
You might have all of Lehigh Valley wanting you to shovel their snow. You could have famous Daniel Roebuck shoveling your snow during the snowstorm.
Hey, Pop. Listen, why don't we do that? Like, if people donate to a channel apiece, well, the problem is I can't. A, I don't have a shovel. And
I
B,
can get you one.
shut up. And the other problem is that.
Oh, there's one right here in the
there's a
corner
shovel
too.
here.
Oh, we got a shovel here too.
All right. I'll be shoveling Rock's driveway now. Listen, if people need help, look, this is one of the ways that you can really feel. Hey, Harvey Schmidlot, thank you for calling, by the way. One of the ways that you can feel good is by doing good unto others.
Right.
It is it's like the most brilliant, simple solution. It's like the Alka-Seltzer of the doldrums. You just drop in a little do-goodingness for someone else. When we were kids, there was always the paths we had to shovel in front of our house. Dad was very clear, and then which neighbors were also shoveled without, you weren't allowed to ask for money, but then everybody else you could ask.
And it's true, because doing good for others is important. And I promised a team of about 45 friends of mine I'd give them a shout out today on the
Oh,
air.
let's say hi to
Called
each and every one of them.
Team Santa. Oh, I'd have to go through my messenger. It's like long. It's like it started. As many of you know, I am on social media. Yoda unfortunately is more viral on TikTok with me because I did the whole baby Yoda seek and find thing. But my friends on Facebook, I put one post up a couple days ago about families who are not able to provide for their kids this Christmas because they lost their jobs. They work in the service industry and the restaurants being shut down. And I said, look, if you're a family that needs anything, please reach out. Let's see if we can help you. Well, one post, I think it's been shared, 80 sometimes now. And I have 45 friends on a group now called Team Santa who have all pulled together. It is phenomenal. And we are now providing Christmas gifts for kids whose parents no longer can buy them anything because they lost their jobs due to not being able to earn tips for the next 2 weeks, which is usually the busiest eat out time of the year. And I need to thank the restaurant owners who have submitted some names of their wait staff who they know are in deep trouble. But I got to give a shout out. My sunroom right now looks like Santa's workshop. You cannot even walk through it. My kids are going to be helping wrapping during the snowstorm, and a friend of mine is going to be playing Santa on Saturday. Brown Dog Chevy's donating a red car truck for us to go and deliver on Saturday. But yeah, it's helping others. It's pulling back and giving back when even a lot of us are struggling too. My business took a huge hit because of the shutdown. Huge hit. Thank God I had the opportunity to open up my animal business now, and I'm treating horses and dogs and things. So at least my animal business is kind of picking up the human
There's
stuff.
nothing that I'm telling you. She's the guy. If somebody else is like, I got it. Wait, your dog is feeling melancholy. I got a guy.
Well, we can laser them and just get them back and running. And I'm working on a couple of racehorses right now. And the owner's like, "Oh, you fix racehorses? Yeah, fixing racehorses is easy."
Let's parse these words carefully.
Yeah.
We can't fix racehorses. We can heal racehorses.
We'll heal them.
You don't want to fix a race.
No, that's true. Very good. We are healing racehorses. But anyway, but the Team Santa team, thank you. I still have gifts being dropped off today. We have a couple more families we're going to help give Healthy Christmas. And I got to give a shout out to the owners of the restaurants. I have 3 friends who own restaurants that I'm going to give a shout out to because some of them said, look, please don't tell my wait staff I've given you their names, but this is killing me to let them go. But we know, even in the film industry, we are grateful for everybody who donated food to us. So I'm going to give a shout out to. The first one I'm going to talk to is if you love Italian food. Do you love Italian food?
I love Italian food, and I've married an Italian.
So there
I
you
love
go.
Italian
And my mom
food.
is 100% Italian, so we're good. So Rosanna's
Terrific food.
in Bethlehem, 2 East Broad Street. She is open 11 to 9, Monday through Saturday. And if you need the best Italian food and you want to bring it home for the holidays, the number at her restaurant is 610-867-3757. And that's Rosanna's. And she donated food to this set.
She was terrific.
And the number again is 610-867-3757. And that's Rosanna's. And it is the most Italian food. And my son, Harrison, loves her food. Loves her Italian food. So please reach out to some of these amazing family. Mario with the Newburgh Deli helped us out too. Tim Genuine, the staff at Weiss Marcus. Meg from Dickie's Barbecue. We love Dickie's Barbecue.
Cindy
Weintraub from Carlsbad. And my friend Mario, I have so many friends. And then my friend Angelo from Modern Fusion Catering. He's the one who donated all the food up in Bangor. That amazing at Modern Fusion Catering.
I have to say, you guys, you can't do what we're trying to do here in the Lehigh Valley through a channel of peace. Again, you can go to channelofpeace.org. Dad, if you're still listening, that's on the computer. I know that you don't know what a computer is. Going to my house where my father lives, it's like going to bedrock. There's no computer, there's no internet. If you take a shower, it's a mastodon blowing water on your hair. It's just like the Flintstones. The help of the community is so great, and we can't make the faith-filled family movies without it, and we can't promote the Lehigh Valley without it.
Right. And giving back is phenomenally healthy. I'm convinced that when you give back to others, you really help. The past 2 shows that we were on the air, my friend Julia was on talking about her anxiety and depression, and we talked. One of the therapies for healing and anxiety and depression is literally going and helping somebody else.
Oh yeah, of course.
So, do you feel that? Do you ever have this, idea in the back of your head when you make a movie, like, you know what, I want to make this movie because I know that when this gets out there and people see this, I'm going to help people.
Well, so all right, let me speak to that because I think there'd be great hubris if I would have thought that Getting Grace would have touched people as deeply as it did. I knew that I could entertain them. And I know that through the movies I could remind people of faith in a higher power. That I know. Can I move them to change? That I can hope for.
Right.
What people have said to me in regard to Getting Grace, how it was not just life affirming. I get a little emotional. I've had many people tell me it was life changing. And I had, people who lost people say that it gave them closure. Who could have dreamed of that? This movie, what's interesting is everybody sees their loved one in that character, her strength, her fortitude, her joking. And we started talking about laughter in the movie, or laughter in Getting Grace, joking. The people who have lived through this, especially pediatric cancer, you've lost your child to cancer. Listen, let's just say that that's right up there with some of the worst things that could ever happen to a parent.
People never get over losing a child. I don't care how they lost a child. No one ever gets over
never ever. But that those parents, their feedback has been consistently positive. That there were, in the worst times, there were also humorous times that if you didn't laugh, you might crack. You might go
absolutely
wacky. So I don't know. I hope the movies help people. I hope they do, and that's all I could hope for, I suppose. And I just will always strive to do the very, very, very best that I can do to make them entertaining and moving.
Okay, so I've got 3 text message questions coming because people for some reason are afraid to call in. So next one is, how do you deal with someone? Because again, there's a lot of negativity out there in the universe right now. So how do you deal with someone who, according to my text message, how do you deal with someone who comes up to you and says, "I can't believe you actually made that movie"? Like, what were you thinking?
Oh, well, nobody's ever said that.
Well, good. Okay, so you don't have to deal with negativity.
I mean, look, people. I wish that you could.
How dare you turn? You know. That
No. I got news for you. What's worse is what people really do say, because people.
We've learned that people are mean. I've learned
No.
that.
Let me just say this. I don't think people are mean. I think people sometimes are shocked to meet someone from TV, and I'm a guy that they see on TV every day, so they say weird stuff. They'll say, "Oh my God, are you? I know you. You're from Montana," and I'll say, "No, I'm not." "Yeah, you didn't." "No, I didn't." And we'll try to, and I'll like say, "Have you ever been to Burbank?" I never say, "Well, I'm an actor." So after 14 no's, I say, "Well, you know, I'm an actor. I'm on TV every day." And they say, "I don't watch TV." Okay, yes you do. Yes you do, and that's where you see me. Or you look like a guy I know, and I say I'm on, and they go, "Well, you really look like him. Just say that you saw me on TV." Or you know, one time I was out with my pop, you know, and he's really such a fun guy, and we're in a place over at the Westgate Mall, and this woman says, "Oh, I know who you are. You know, you play those bit parts on TV." And, you know, that's my ego. I'm like, well, they're called guest stars, and they're very hard to get, and they're, you know, it's real acting, and then anyway, she kept saying, "Well, do you work anymore?" Finally, my father's like, "Okay, we gotta go. He won't tolerate it."
So, okay, another question came in. What is your favorite movie that you've had nothing to do with?
Oh, well, believe me, I watch Amadeus all the time. I watch Schindler's List all the time. I'm talking about like pieces of art that are cinematic. My favorite movie of last year was the year before.
It all blends together.
I was asked my favorite movie of this year, and I never answered that question. Amy, if you're listening, I'll try to remember that. Jojo Rabbit was just such a perfect movie that came out last year. I love movies. I mean, I love movies. So I love when somebody surprises me in a movie. I want to be surprised. Jojo Rabbit was filled with surprises.
Okay, I gotta ask, favorite Disney movie?
Mary Poppins.
Which Mary Poppins?
No. There's only one Mary Poppins, and then there's another movie called Mary Poppins Returns.
Okay, so the original Mary Poppins.
Mary Poppins. We
okay,
don't even have to say the original.
Mary Poppins. Gotta ask.
Chim Marie. It's perfection.
Favorite animated movie?
Animated movie. You know, I it's a good time to say, if you can find it, look for Christmas Is Here Again. One that I play a role in, and I produced. My kids are in it too. Christmas Is Here Again.
I can say that now too.
Yeah.
I can say that my kid's in a movie. I can say that my kid's in a movie now. Harrison, my son, is in a movie. That's cool. All right.
I would say probably, you know, cinematically, Beauty and the Beast. It still remains one of the highlights.
Tale as old as time.
Yeah.
Yes. I gotta go with Tangled and Little Mermaid. So anyway, okay. So we're talking. We spent most of the hour talking with Daniel Roebuck from A Channel Apiece, and about the upcoming things that so many things to look forward to here in the Lehigh Valley. So we are going to work on the next feature film, right?
Yeah, listen, we're gonna do it. Here's what we're gonna say. We're gonna hope and pray that everything goes well, and that this next summer we're going to make The Hail Mary. Now, The Hail Mary is about a very funny nun, irascible a little bit, but funny, sweet. She finds this guy who is so desperately in need of redemption that she cons him into creating a football team for her all-boys Catholic school so that he can find it. And it is a great buddy comedy where these two diverse characters working for a common goal find a common bond.
I'm looking forward to that one.
It's, you know, the movies again. They're this one's set in, you know, they're Catholic sisters. I've felt for a long time. I grew up right down the street. We're literally a couple thousand yards from St. Anne's, which is where we're speaking today at GPA, and St. Anne's was the first place I came in contact with the Sisters of St. Joseph, who had a very big, played a very big part in the formation of my ethics and my morality. Let me just clarify, I'm not perfect. Please don't think of me as an example of a perfect, moral, ethical person, because I'm a flawed human being. I make mistakes,
but some of them are funny.
some of them are funny, yeah. Some of the mistakes I make are funny. But anyway, so I want to make a movie about the heart of the church. The being a Catholic in the last 20 years has been quite difficult. I wish that things were different, but the church aren't the priests. The church are the people.
That's right. It's
And
what you do every day that makes a difference.
that's the church. And the heart of the church for me, has always been the sisters, the religious sisters who sacrifice to do so much for everybody in the world. And this is my payback.
Oh, cool. Well, we are almost at the end of I have to give a shout out to a couple of people too. We know that without our sponsors, this show would not happen.
We love our sponsors.
We love our sponsors. So one of my sponsors today is thorlaser.com. So laser is we call it low-level light therapy healing. It is healing with 0 side effects. I have a couple of patients right now. As a matter of fact, I have one right now. I've only treated her twice and she's pain-free. And it's amazing that the technology works. It is, it's great because I'm handheld. I actually am going to do 2 home visits today before the snow hits for some knee replacement patients who want to be pain-free. So we will
and Thor, they're the great company that makes the device.
Yes, Thor makes the device. They're based in the UK and their home office is in Canada, in Toronto. And Mark Granick's a real good friend of mine. But I have 3 of his units right now that we use in the office, and we do them on humans, horses. The horses love the laser. I have one horse right now that I treat at the farm in Coopersburg, and I do his knees and ankles. And it's funny because when I was at the farm last week, I just went up to the horse and I go out in the middle of the pasture because it's this great battery operated, and I go right and he lifts his leg right up and gives it to me. I'm like, it's hysterical. But they're amazing. The horses know that they get a treatment and they know they're going to feel better. It's phenomenal. And humans are the same way. So if you want to learn more about thorlaser.com, you can visit thorlaser.com, or you can visit drsusansph.com, because that is my practice and that's where we are. And I'm all over the Lehigh Valley, Coopersburg and Sailorsburg, treating people and fixing everybody that we can, because we like to make people healthy and happy. So thank you to Thor Laser. They are the sponsor for today's show. So we wanted to give a shout out.
Hello, Thor. Thank you, Thor.
Yes, but we've been on WGPA, Sunny 1100 AM. We've been talking to Daniel Roebuck, Channel of Peace, creator of Getting Grace, and now Lucky Louie, which will be coming out hopefully soon. I have so many people.
Yeah, I think in the fall, I
so
would guess.
As we end our show today, what parting words can you leave our audience about health, films, hope, being happy? How's that for an ending question?
Listen, I'm just so fed up with people saying, in this difficult time, we're in it together. No, duh. We've always been in it together. Having to deal with a virus doesn't change anything. God put us here not to be individuals, but to work in it as a unit. And our lessons are consistently to be learned through service to others. So I feel that if we all just shake off the bonds of our fear about this thing and embrace how through this we can move forward. That's why it happened to us. Nothing's without a good. And because if you believe in God, then you believe in the outcome that's predetermined. So let's just maybe just all take the next few weeks and just shake off the fear and even if we're home,
they can go get Getting Grace today at Missing Peace in Nazareth and watch it. There you go.
But I guess I'm saying that it doesn't even there's so many ways to help people, even if you can't leave your house, because there is something really out there that's creepy and harming us. So you could pray for people, and you could think positive thoughts about people, and you could, most importantly, think positive thoughts about yourself, because
right.
you're perfect.
All right. Well, hey, we have got to end today's show. I thank you so much for being here. And I thank you for everybody, wherever you are. Please remember to stay healthy, stay happy, share positivity out there, shop local wherever you are. And if you're out there on YouTube land when you watch us, please support your local small businesses because they need you. Thank to Rosanna's Italian Restaurant in Bethlehem. Please call her at 610-867-3757, 610-867-3757, and order your Italian dinner to go. Again, this is Dr. Susan.
Tune in next week.
Tune in next week. I have people throwing things at me right now. Tune in next Wednesday. We will be talking about healthy for the holidays and the coveted food cake. We'll talk about that. Again, this is Dr. Susan from Dr. Susan's PH signing off. I hope you have a lovely week. Stay safe in the snow. We'll talk to you soon. Ta-da!
Thank you, Mr. Rock.
That hour went very quickly.